My dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to discuss Darwin's theory of evolution. Charles Robert Darwin gave the theory of evolution in his famous book The Origin of Species. The theory of evolution proposed by Darwin is also known as theory of natural selection. Why this theory is also known as theory of natural selection? Because it suggests that the best adapted organisms are selected by nature to pass on their characteristics or traits to their next generation. As when we discussed evolution in last lecture, when we consider example of beetles, we see how color variation that arise during sexual reproduction, how green color beetles, how they adapted to the environment as compared to red color beetles. That is what is known as natural selection. Darwin's theory of evolution applies to plants as well as animals. Postulates of Darwin's theory. Formation of species. First, useful variations from generation to generation give rise to the formation of new species. This means useful variations. Variation use no. Variation is difference in characteristics or traits among the individuals of species. And if there are useful variations from generation to generation, that helps us to give rise to formation of new species. As you know, great advantage of variation to a species is that it increases the chances of its survival with changing environment. Within any population there is natural variation. किसी भी population में क्या होती है natural variation, and that variation that arises during reproduction. And some individuals have more favorable variations than others, as we see in evolution when we studied about beetles. Even though all species produce a number of offspring, population remains fairly constant naturally. Second postulate जो है डार्विन्स थ्योरी का, that is struggle of existence due to multiplication of organisms and limited food and space. There exists competition among the organisms due to struggle for existence. Reproduction, as I mentioned, it is inbuilt tendency of an organism, and species produce large number of offsprings, and population that remains fairly constant naturally, because there is competition among the organisms. This is due to the struggle between the members of same species and different species for food, for space, for mate. That is, there is struggle of independence and struggle for survival within population that eliminates the unfit individuals. The fit individuals possessing favorable variations survive and reproduce. This is called natural selection, or we can say survival of the fittest. For example, let us consider an example. No two animals are exactly alike. There always appears some change when animals produce their progeny by sexual reproduction. For example, if we will consider some animals, some progeny of animals may be tall and other may be short. Thus, there may be a variation of height in the progeny. Now, the advantage of long legs to the progeny is that when no food or grass is available on the ground, then their progeny, having the long legs, can reach the leaves on tall trees, eat the food, and survive. On the other hand, the progeny which have short height due to short legs cannot reach the leaves on tall trees. They will not get any food. They will starve and hence die. Understand? The nature has selected the animals with long legs to survive because it is the fittest animal under these circumstances. Now, since long legs help in survive, the long-legged animals will live and long enough to produce their offsprings. Understand? So all the future generations will have long-legged animals. Let me understand you like this. Suppose बेटा ऑफस्प्रिंग्स है एनिमल्स के कुछ शॉर्ट है कुछ है लॉन्ग इफ ऑल ग्रास और वी कैन से फूड on the ground that is not available, then short animals that can't reach to the leaves of the plant, वो लीव्स ऑफ प्लांट नहीं खा सकते क्योंकि उनकी हाइट शॉर्ट है उनके लेग शॉर्ट है लेकिन जो एनिमल्स हाइट में हैं और वो कहते हैं जिनकी लेग्स क्या है टॉल वो क्या कर सकते हैं वो खा सकते हैं लीव्स ऑफ ट्रीज दिस मीन्स जो लॉन्ग लेग्ड एनिमल्स हैं दे विल लिव लॉन्ग वो बहुत टाइम के लिए रह सकते दे विल सर्वाइव इन दिस एनवायरनमेंट एज कम्पेयर टू कॉमन ह्यूमन शॉर्ट लेग्स दिस मीन्स जो शॉर्ट लेग्स एनिमल्स दे विल अल्टीमेटली डाई बिकॉज दे विल गेट नो फूड एंड जो लॉन्ग लेग्ड एनिमल्स हैं they will produce their offsprings in next generation and जो next उनकी next generations होगी उसमें जो animals होंगे उनकी क्या होगी बेटा they will have long legs. This means animals having short legs have evolved into the animals having long legs. किससे due to variation. This is an example of evolution. Or we can say thus natural selection जो है it is the process of evolution of a species whereby characteristics which help individual organisms to survive and reproduce are passed on to offsprings and those characteristics which do not help are not passed on. ठीक है organisms have unlimited capacity to reproduce जो organisms है they have unlimited capacity to reproduce this is also what Darwin said organisms can reproduce offsprings at a fast pace this is necessary for survival because large number of offspring ensure that at least some of them could survive and some of them could not survive. Each organism has to struggle for its day-to-day survival. For example, a frog lays thousands of eggs at one. Frog जो है frog it lays thousands of eggs and that is released into the water and is left to fend for itself. Most of its eggs that are washed away or are eaten by predators. However, just some of the portion of eggs that develop into tadpoles. Once again, many tadpoles that are eaten up by predators, leaving a few which develop into adults. It is evident that large number of eggs is needed to ensure that at least some of them develop into adults. This means organisms जो है that have unlimited capacity to reproduce and अगर हम frog की example लेंगे हम देखते हैं कि at a time it lays thousands of eggs but all these eggs they do not develop into tadpoles. Some of these eggs they are eaten by predators and if they are some of these are washed away with water and if they are developed in tadpoles these tadpoles are even eaten by predators and there are few tadpoles which develop into adults. And Darwin's theory जो है that's natural selection इसका जो ये है इसका जो postulate है that states that डिफरेंट जो इंडिविजुअल्स है पर्टिकुलर स्पीशीज़ के वो उनके क्या होते हैं डिफरेंट ट्रेट्स those with more suitable traits they are selected by nature each organism needs a particular trait for finding food and finding a mate those with better traits are जिनके बेटर ट्रेट्स है जो अपने एनवायरनमेंट के साथ एडजस्ट अच्छे से करते हैं दोज हु आर बेटरली अडेप्टेड टू द एनवायरनमेंट they will finally be able to pass their traits to the next generation. And survival of the fittest, those organisms which are fittest are able to survive while others perish. This is how many species become extinct and some species continue to evolve over a period of time. For example, a species of any plant or animal may completely die out. It may become extinct. Once a species is extinct, the genes are lost forever and it cannot re-emerge at all. The small number of surviving tigers, जो टाइगर स्पीशीज है उनका बहुत ही आज कम ये है, उनका नंबर जो है वो बहुत ही कम है. The small number of surviving tigers are a cause of worry from the point of view of genetics, because if they all die out and become extinct, their genes will be lost forever. Our जो coming generation है, they will not be able to see tigers at all. Therefore, we should make all efforts to protect tigers and other endangered species to prevent them from extinction. This was about all this Darwin's theory of evolution. This means you should remember Darwin's theory of evolution. It is also known as theory of natural selection. And अगर आपके एग्जाम में आया theory of natural selection, you have to write down Darwin's theory of evolution. Understand? Thank you.